6 months after the end of World War II. 5 U.S. Navy torpedo bombers lift off from a runway in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. 14 men aboard. A routine training flight, bombing practice, then home in time for dinner. 2 hours in, the flight leader radios something strange. His compass has failed. He doesn't know which way is home. The other pilots think they know exactly where they are. They ask to turn west, back toward the coast. Their leader, the more experienced man, overrules them. Turns the formation further out, further from land. Radio chatter grows confused, then frightened, then stops. The Navy launches a rescue plane. 13 more men aboard. It never even reaches the search area. It disappears too. By morning, hundreds of ships and aircraft are combing 250,000 square miles of ocean. Not one piece of wreckage. Not one oil slick. Not one body. 27 men. 6 aircraft. Gone in a single evening. This is the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is a loosely defined stretch of the western North Atlantic, roughly bounded by 3 points, Miami, Bermuda, and San Juan, Puerto Rico. Draw a line between them and you get a triangle covering roughly 500,000 square miles of ocean, one of the busiest shipping and flight corridors on the planet. The name is younger than most people assume. Sailors had swapped stories about strange compass behavior and sudden storms in these waters for centuries. But the phrase Bermuda Triangle itself didn't exist until 1964, when writer Vincent Gaddis coined it in an Argosy magazine article titled The Deadly Bermuda Triangle. A decade later, Charles Berlitz's best-selling book of the same name turned it into a global phenomenon, selling millions of copies almost overnight. So what actually happened out there? Let's go through the cases that built the legend. The USS Cyclops, one of the largest ships in the U.S. Navy, a 542-foot coal collier, was returning from Brazil loaded with roughly 10,000 tons of manganese ore, bound for Baltimore. Something was already wrong before it left. Its captain, George Worley, had reported a cracked engine cylinder. He was ordered to sail anyway. The ship was also known to be overloaded, and Worley himself was a controversial figure, accused by his own crew of drunkenness and unfitness for command months earlier. The Cyclops made a stop in Barbados, still overloaded, then sailed on March 4, 1918. It never arrived. No distress call, no wreckage, no lifeboats. 306 men, gone with the ship. The U.S. Navy's own statement called it one of the most baffling mysteries in the annals of the Navy. A German U-boat attack was ruled out. No German record shows a submarine in the area. The leading theory points to catastrophic structural failure. 2 of the Cyclops' sister ships, Proteus and Nereus, both vanished in the Atlantic during World War II while carrying similar ore cargo, feeding a theory that the corrosive minerals ate through the ship's support beams. Others point to the storm that struck the East Coast just days later. No trace of the Cyclops has ever been found. You just heard the shape of it. Here's the detail. Leading the 5 Avengers was Lieutenant Charles Taylor, 27, a combat veteran with 2,500 flying hours. His 4 students were qualified pilots, just less experienced. On the turn north, Taylor insisted his compass had failed and that he was somewhere over the Florida Keys. He was wrong, and he was the senior officer, so his students followed him further out to sea as a storm closed in with near hurricane force winds. 2 PBM Mariner, flying boats, were launched to search for them. 1, callsign, Training 49, checked in 10 minutes after takeoff and was never heard from again. A passing ship reported a fireball in the sky and an oil slick on the water at roughly the right time. The Mariner had a known history of accumulating explosive fuel vapor, earning it the nickname, the flying gas tank. 13 more men, gone. The Navy's Board of Inquiry was, in its own words, completely baffled. Its official finding: the aircraft and crews had disappeared for causes or reasons unknown. Decades later, the finding was formally amended to clear Taylor of blame. Flight 19 is the case Hollywood couldn't resist. In 1977's Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the missing airman returned to Earth, uninjured. January 30, 1948. An Avro Tudor IV named Star Tiger, flying from the Azores to Bermuda with 31 people aboard, vanishes on its final approach. The plane had a failing cabin heater, a faulty compass, and was running low on fuel and behind schedule, yet sent no distress call, despite multiple stations listening on its frequency. The official inquiry, Britain's first public air accident investigation since 1930, found nothing conclusive. Its verdict: the fate of Star Tiger must remain an unsolved mystery. Almost exactly 1 year later, its sister plane, Star Ariel, vanished on a flight from Bermuda to Jamaica with 20 aboard, this time in perfect weather, at high altitude, with no warning at all. Neither plane, nor any of the 51 people aboard both flights, was ever found. Add to that a DC-3 that disappeared with 32 people on a short hop from Puerto Rico to Miami in 1948, officially closed as insufficient information, and by the time Berlitz's book hit shelves, writers had a tally running into the hundreds. It sounded like a curse. It was actually a very busy stretch of ocean with a very bad run of luck. Here's what's actually confirmed. Real ships and planes disappeared here with no wreckage ever recovered. Official investigators repeatedly concluded the cause was unknown, and yet every major agency that tracks ocean safety says this water is no more dangerous than any other well-traveled stretch of the Atlantic. Independent research found the popular accounts riddled with errors and exaggeration, and nothing extraterrestrial, dimensional, or otherwise unexplainable has ever actually been recovered from these waters. What's still genuinely unresolved is simpler and stranger than any of the theories. No one has ever found the wreckage of the Cyclops, Flight 19, Star Tiger, or Star Ariel, despite some of the largest search efforts in US and British history. Every day, cruise ships and commercial flights cross this exact stretch of ocean without incident. The ocean never needed a curse to be dangerous. Storms, currents, deep trenches, and human error have always been enough. What's different about the Bermuda Triangle isn't the water. It's the story we decided to tell about it.